Hi, guys. Thank you so much for listening to the Gig Economy podcast. Real quick, we'd love for you to support us at patreon.com/gigeconpodcast, or just go to patreon.com and search the Gig Economy podcast. We just got a few more patrons. We appreciate them. You get a free piece of merch after the second month, and we're creating exclusive merch just for you Patreons. You get the pre-show banter where we're just shooting the shit, and then you get one extra podcast a month, usually an interview. So go to patreon.com/the Gig Econ podcast, or just search Gig Economy podcast at patreon.com. Irvine's Auto Repair, Grand Rapids Hybrid, the studio sponsor of the Gig Economy podcast. We can't thank them enough for everything they do for us. I just had my car there. They did a fantastic job. You can call them at 532-6600 or schedule online, irvines.com. OilUber.com, our next sponsor. Go to OilUber.com. That's OILUBER.com to sign up to be an oil change tech or a jump starter tech or a fuel delivery tech. And if you also want to be a customer, you can go to the same place to request service. We can't thank them enough for supporting the Gig Economy podcast. Go to OilUber.com to sign up as a customer or as a technician. The Office, that's the name that we've called it. Michigan Insurance and Financial Services. Thank you so much for supporting us. If you need an insurance quote, please call Jackie at 269-569-6127. You can also email her, Jackie at miafs.com. Jackie is an independent insurance agent, meaning she'll quote several companies to get you the best price. And Jesper just recently changed, and I've been with Jackie for a while. So call her 269-569-6127 or Jackie at miafs.com. That stands for Michigan Insurance and Financial Services. And last but not least, Scrotenbohr Tax and Accounting. Call Dave at 940-1045. Time to get those taxes set up. It's definitely not too early to do that. If you reach out to him, get him all your information. When you get your 1099s or whatever from all the gig companies, then you can go ahead and have him do your taxes. Always have a professional do your taxes. Please don't do it yourself. They can get you the best money back. And then if you get audited, you just call him. Scrotenbohr Tax and Accounting. Call Dave at 940-1045. Enjoy the show. Hi, guys. Welcome to the Gig Economy podcast. I realized that my mic is muted. Sorry about that. I don't have the intro music. I was looking for it. That's why it took so long. I apologize for that. Happy Thanksgiving, guys. Tomorrow is Thanksgiving. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We're super happy that you're here. This studio is sponsored by Irvine's Auto Repair and Grand Rapids Hybrid. As you can see, we're all remote. Just due to the pandemic, we've decided as a team that it's just probably better that we stay remote. So please bear with us if we have any hiccups, as we probably will, as you're used to. Our guest host tonight is, okay, I forgot to ask you this, Chris. Is it Chris Postumus or Postumus?
Neither. Postmus.
Postmus.
I always say it's like the mailman, but in us.
Okay, yeah, you've been in our group for like forever, but you never call people by their last name, so right. I apologize for that. But if you could share the stream to anybody that might want to watch it, any of your Facebook groups, on YouTube, if you can hit the subscribe button and the like, we would super appreciate it. And then also everything that you want to know about us, go to gigeconomy-podcast.com. That is our website and has all our fun stuff. So
definitely helps us when you share.
Yes. So before we get into the gig economy news tonight, story since the last podcast. I know it's been a little lame lately, just because none of us have been working, but Chris has been working and I have been working, and even Jesper has a story tonight. So Jesper, why don't you get into your story while I'm kind of getting myself situated, and we'll kind of go from there.
Sounds good. So we, as you all know, and I got a little bit of flag from this one from Jason, I gotta say, because I kind of threw it on at very, very last minute. So I apologize, Jason. But last podcast, I wasn't here because we actually ended up doing a surprise, like a quick trip to Tennessee. It was supposed to be a quick trip anyways, but then, everybody knows the Comfort vehicle, right? And we have the Comfort. It died. It did. It did. The transmission went out. We're coming down the mountain. We've been up in Tennessee, up seeing there's a spot where you can see on a good day, you can see 7 different states right there at the top of Smoky Mountains, and coming down, the transmission went out. It was not a good feeling, man. All of a sudden there was a big clunk and we started not going very fast. And so we could get in first, and that was it. And so we coasted all the way down the mountain, and at one point we had like 15 cars behind us just honking at us. That was real nice.
Oh, that's got to be like tons of pressure. Like what am I gonna do?
Because there's no signal right in the mountain, so it's not like we can pull into the side and get a guy to come tow us, because there's no way. So I said no, we are going down. We are going out. Down. So once we got back into Pigeon Forge, we pulled into the first parking lot we could, and then we figured out how to deal with it. Yep. True enough, after we called 6 different auto shops, we finally found somebody who had time to look at it, because everybody else was scheduling 10 days out. And again, I was in a 2-day trip in Tennessee, had no intention of seeing stock there for 2 weeks.
That's crazy, Jesper.
It was ridiculous. But long story short, we were able to leave that Friday, 3 days later than we was originally doing. And the guy who did the job did a great job. He found me a used transmission, put it in, did a really good job at it, and we are back home. So those are all great things. And luckily we had some things in place that it ended up costing us $3,000 we didn't want to spend. But hey, that's what happens, right?
Right. So I'm glad you made it home safe. Thanks for scheduling vacation on frickin' podcast week.
Yeah, I know.
Bullshit.
That's
all right. We had Pete. He stepped in with a pink shirt, and he did a great job. We're gonna miss Pete. So yeah, I'm back to working full time, doing gig work. But the problem is this week's been a little sketch. Today was not good at all. And I think it's just because it's around the holidays. Maybe food delivery was good tonight, but we had the podcast. But yeah, I things have been going well. It's been a different kind of schedule. I actually don't get up in the morning and drive passengers. I definitely just start a lunch about 11 to about 2, and then sometimes I get an Amazon shift, and then I go out and do food delivery at night. And honestly, I've been able to hit my goal every day, only working about 6 hours. So it's been kind of nice. It's actually a different switch from last year. I used to get up at like 5 in the morning and do passengers, and that's just terrible. So I don't really have anything that right off the top of my head that's happened. I did a little Shipt for a while. Been doing quite a bit of Amazon Flex, but nothing really has stood out that I can talk about. So what about you, Chris? I know you
talk about
what?
Is the stuff you can't talk about?
No, like nothing like been crazy that's happened. It's just been, you know, just kind of normal stuff. I mean, a few Shipt customers that were bougie, but other than that, nothing big. But Chris, you are driving packs and doing food delivery. Do you got anything, any stories or what's been going on with you?
So Monday night, I picked up a guy, second week in a row that I got him, and I'm like, hey, I think I had you last week. He's like, yeah, I did. So he's like, hey, do you mind if we stop at the Speedway on the way to work? I'm like, yeah, no problem. And so pulled into the Speedway, and he runs in, and he was getting some stuff to take to work with him. And guy comes out, and he's kind of comes over to the side of my car, and he's like, hey, can I call my wife? I'm like, I guess. I said, he's like, yeah, I've been walking trying to get home and from my work, and my wife, I don't have a phone, and I can't get my wife and or girlfriend, I forget what it was. And I'm like, yeah, I'll give her a call. I said, it'll be on the speaker here in the car, just kind of lean in and you can hear. So my Pax is inside, and he's getting his food. I dial up the number he gives me, and it rings, goes to voicemail, and he's like, that's voicemail. I'm like, okay, it didn't sound like voicemail. It sounded like she was kind of talking to him. And he's like, no, yeah, that's voicemail. I'm like, okay. So I hang up, I call again, and he's like, I don't know, she doesn't have the phone, or the kid's got the phone, or somebody's got the phone. And I said, like, can you give me a ride down to Prairie? So this is 36 and Burlingame, and he wants to go down to Prairie. And I'm like, yeah, I said, well, I have a passenger. I said, if it's cool with him, then, I'll take the passenger to work and then I'll bring you back to your house. And he's like, no, I'll go ask this other guy. So he goes to the pump and asks this other guy. And he kind of, my passenger comes out. I kind of explained the story to him, and he's like, well, yeah, I'd be cool with that. I'm like, okay. So I start backing out, and I could tell that the other guy wasn't going to give the guy that was asking me a ride. And so I rolled down my window. I'm like, hey, if you need a ride, I can take you, because he said it was okay.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, that's awesome. And then my passenger's like, well, I'm really early. He's like, if you want to, you can bring him first and then bring me to work.
Damn.
I'm like, yeah. I said it's on your dime. I said it's because the ride is going. And so he's like, yeah, no problem. So I like, hey, get in. So I bring him down and bring him to some apartments off of Prairie. we pull in. He's like, where's my truck? Yeah, he's like, my truck is gone. My truck is missing. I'm like, I don't know. And so he's like, this is weird. He says, my truck is gone and she's not answering. I'm like, you know what? It's not her problem anymore. Get out.
Get the hell out of my car.
So I bring the passenger, and he ends up working over by 36 and Roger B. Chaffee. So bring him on over, and he's like, yeah, I'm glad you were doing that. It's really nice and all that, but I just didn't want you riding by yourself with this guy. And I'm like, oh, that's nice, So I'm on the way. I was explaining to him about another passenger I had, or not passenger, but I had a food delivery, and I'm walking into the store, and this guy comes up to me. He's like, hey, this is 28th Street and Patterson, basically. There's a Qdoba over there. And he's like, can you bring me to Kalamazoo? And I'm like, Kalamazoo? I'm like, that's like an hour away. He's like, yeah, I'll pay you some money or whatever. And I'm like, I don't know. I got this food delivery. So I go inside the Qdoba to ask about this guy that's been sitting outside waiting. And so this is a whole nother story, right? And so I'm asking the people in Qdoba, the employees, the manager, I'm like, hey, what's the story with this guy out here? Has he been waiting there long? What's the deal with him? And they're like, yeah, we didn't even know he was there. I'm like, okay. Well, in the meantime, I'm inside getting the food. The guy comes in and he goes and uses the bathroom, comes out. Well, I come out and he starts getting on my case like, well, I told you who I was and that I needed a ride and that, nobody believes me and anything like that. I've been working here all day and I just need a ride down to Kalamazoo. I'm like, look, dude, I said, just take it easy. I said, I had to kind of do some verification of who you were or what the deal was. And I said, tell you what, I said, I'll bring you down to Kalamazoo. I said, but I got to deliver this food first. He's like, oh, you do that for me? I'm like, yeah. He said, throw your stuff in the back. So he throws his stuff in the trunk and he gets in the car with me and I go drop the food off and down to Kalamazoo. I go with this guy and he's just chattering the whole way. And it's like, I was working for this guy and I asked him to either put me up for the night or, give me some money to get back to Kalamazoo. There's no buses, there's no nothing. And nobody was willing to take me or anything like that. And, he says, I'm a Christian and, I got this going on and that going on. I'm trying to get things back on track and I'm working and doing that. I'm like, whatever, dude, I just want to get you down there and drop you off and do my good deed for the day. And so I got him dropped off and started heading back from Kalamazoo and just finished off my night. And this other guy, the first guy that I picked up, before telling him this whole story about the other guy, dropped him off and he's like, he was really grateful and liked me helping out other people as well. So that was kind of,
yeah, that's good. You didn't charge him for the ride. You did it for free.
He gave me like $18, but a Kalamazoo ride should have been about 65.
Yeah. Well, sometimes you got to step up and do those things, but you do have to be careful too, man. I can't believe you picked up that one guy. You're way nicer than me. Like Ben's super nice too. I'm just like, get the hell away from my car, bro. If you're not the customer, I don't really care. I mean, I'll call the cops for you.
I know. I weigh my words. I'm weighing my good deed thing for the day versus, making some money, and sometimes you just get that little voice inside of you going like, this guy needs a little.
Yeah. I think it's more than a good deed for the day. I think you wrapped up a week with that one. So
right.
Jason would have said, "Don't touch my radio."
Yeah, don't touch. No, I don't have an aux cord. Don't touch my radio.
The guy did ask to play his own tunes, and
no. You sit back and shut the hell up.
Pay me $65. You can play your own tunes.
I'm okay. I'm kind of like, what do you got? I want to hear if you got something new. He's like, oh yeah, I got this new stuff, and I didn't like it, but
of course,
whatever.
Of course. All right. Before we get into the news, I just want to shout out. One of the things that at least I'm thankful for the Gig Economy podcast is our Patreons. And so I want to just give a shout out to them. Keith from Georgia, who's been around for a while. Janet from New Zealand. Leo from Detroit. Larry from Bowling Green, Samson from Grand Rapids, Miguel from Grand Rapids, Kevin from Grand Rapids, and Ron G from San Francisco, and Michael from Ann Arbor. So thank you guys.
Heard Ron G. Does Ron G talk at all? I have not heard him.
Ron G is, I don't know anything about him. He's not in the Telegram group. He is just a Patreon member. But he's a new one.
Ron G, get on the Telegram. It's fun to hear you guys from other places.
Yeah. And Ron,
we know what tomorrow's going to be like from talking to Janet. So
I know, right? That's the cool thing. So
yeah. But also, I want to just promote our last show. We had a bonus interview that the Patreon members got first. Is a new app called I Need a Hand with Michael, who's actually a Patreon subscriber. So. He subscribed after we did the show, so it's not like he did it so we would do the show. I want to clarify that. He just loves us so much. But yeah, check out that app. We're actually going to be featured in that coming up in December, and they're going to kind of come to Grand Rapids. I won't explain all what it is, but the link is in the Facebook description. You can click on that and download that show. It's about a 30-minute show. So it was really
fun. A really cool app.
It is.
It is. I like the concept. Definitely.
Yeah, and he didn't do it for profit. So you'll hear my shocked voice on the interview like, wait a minute, you're not trying to make money on this? He's like, no. I'm like, okay. I don't know where to go with my questions.
He wants to take people to Kalamazoo.
Yeah. Yeah, call Chris. He's up for charity, apparently. All right. We want to thank our studio sponsor, Irvine's Auto Repair and Grand Rapids Hybrid. I was just there yesterday. I got This is how it figures, right? So yesterday, the Amazon routes were just popping, like all day, surged rates. And today, dog shit. And my car was at Irvine's yesterday getting, I had to have something with my heater, wouldn't do defrost, so that was expensive just because of the part, and it was a pain in the ass to fix. But got a loaner car from them. That's one amazing feature with Irvine's. You get a free loaner car. But call them at 532-6600 or go to irvines.com to schedule. I forgot to pop out the thing. This whole StreamYard thing is so new to me.
There we go.
There we go. Yeah, irvines.com.
I didn't want to say anything.
No, Tell me. Yell at me because we might be doing this for a while. So
I just got a tip. I like that.
Oh, you just got a tip?
Yeah, I got a tip on the... Yeah.
Well, the rest of this month, I know it's not much left, but they are giving free wiper blades with any service. So give them a call. You can schedule online. Everything's sanitized and yada, yada, yada. So we can't thank them enough for supporting the Gig Economy podcast. All right. Let's get back to...
You got to move it now. There you go.
I know. I'm doing like 7 more jobs than I normally do because of StreamYard. Okay. Where are we at here? First up. Oh, it's me. So I just want to get a disclaimer. There's some pretty heavy language in this next video. So basically the N-word. Not that we condone that, but this is kind of why drivers need to be protected and you need to be on your game. So I just wanted to throw that out there before I played it. But we will play this video and then we'll talk about it. And I'm going to bounce it out like a big boy.
You're a sand nigger. That's what you are. You're a fucking sand nigger. Fuck you. Yeah.
Film him saying that, nigger. Continue saying that.
What's a sand nigger? Do you know what a sand nigger is?
Joe?
Do you know what a sand nigger is? Because I do.
Joe, stop. I'm videoing. Stop. Stop. I'm videoing. You stop.
I know what a sand nigger is. Sand nigger. you.
I got your license plate.
Fucking piece of shit. You fucking piece of shit.
You should never drive Lyft again.
No, you will never drive. Yeah. You will never drive.
Are you happy now?
No?
By calling
not.
people?
No, we expected a Lyft drive home. That's what we expected.
Just put on your mask.
Hey, hold on.
Gosh.
Hold on. You're just a fucking stupid idiot.
Thank you.
Yeah,
you
fuck
you feel good?
Fuck you.
You feel good now?
Do you feel good?
Do you feel good?
Do you
Here,
feel
hold
good?
on. I'll feel better when I piss in here. Let me piss in your car.
Go ahead, do it.
Hold on, I'm gonna piss in your car.
Do it.
Do you feel better?
Yeah, I'm not. You stupid fucking nigger.
Do you feel good? Do you feel good?
As you're recording, record him saying nigger too, okay?
Do you
Fuck
feel good?
you.
His name is Joe. Thank
Do
you so much.
Feel good?
Have a
Do
good
you
night.
feel good?
And
Have a good
it's
night.
10:01. Fuck you.
Wow, that was rough.
Some people.
So a follow-up, that guy did lose his job, which I'm happy about. But man, how calm was the driver? Like, I can't believe he's like, yeah, go piss in my car. I'd be jumping over the car, taking that drunk ass down, be like, you ain't pissing in my car. But
Okay, handled it very professionally.
He
Yes,
did.
he did.
I'm glad he videotaped it because no one needs to be treated that way.
No.
And gosh, that was disgusting. And
Well, and he also knew what not to do, right? Because if he would have jumped over and done, he would have.
yes,
That big guy would have hurt him.
yeah,
And so he did exactly the handle
pretty
it.
drunk.
Oh,
Yeah.
he was, but he would have hurt him. I mean, he was a big guy.
yeah,
Just pretty drunk.
yeah. So this is just kind of just be always aware of your situation.
Yeah.
I'm glad he ended because clearly he ended the ride. Whatever happened before must not had a dash cam, but another reason to get a dash cam. You can always.
But could also be that he couldn't record it inside, and he didn't want to show. Maybe he's in a state that doesn't have that. The two
Who knows?
Whatever. So who knows? Yeah, but yeah.
But clearly something happened in the car for him to end the ride.
Right.
So yeah, that was.
But definitely, yeah, it's your car. It's you set the rules, and don't be treated like that.
All right. So next up, this is for Chris and stupid screen. Let me do this. I can just read them, Chris. That's fine. Your old man eyes. Do you think some of these are meant for you because you're driving passengers right now, and Jesper and I are? Do you think the driver app should show other drivers like the rider app? Meaning like you can know where the other drivers are.
Right.
What are your thoughts about that?
Well, I flip back and forth sometimes. Maybe you guys do too.
Yep. We used to. Yep.
But why?
I did that the other night because I'm like, why am I not getting any rides? Well, then I took a look and I'm like, holy cats, there's like 4 other guys right around me. And it's like, well, no wonder I'm not getting us. And I was in the, Grand Rapids, they give us a zone at like 9:00 at night. And so I got in the zone and I'm like waiting for rides to make an extra, I forget, $12 or $18 for 2 rides in a row. Right. And I'm sitting there for like 20 minutes. I'm like, okay, this is starting to not get worth it. Right.
Yeah.
And so I thought, well, let me look and see. Well, I ended up there's like 4 or 5 other cars, right, in the area. So I just got out of there. I moved to a different spot in the zone. And then I got a ping, and it was over in the Granville area, and then she canceled. So I went back to my spot, got a ping again, the same person. She canceled again. I got a ping again, same person, and she canceled again. So I was trying to get my first ride of the 2 in the zone. So then my second ride, I could be wherever, to complete it. And then I was just going to be done for the night. So that's why I used it that time.
So would you benefit from knowing how many drivers are around you at all the time, or?
I think so. Because you guys probably have also seen too, if you have UberX on and you're moving into a surge zone, then the surge zone starts going down as you're moving into it. If you can see other cars that are moving into it, you may decide, maybe I'm not going to go in that direction because it's not worthwhile.
Yeah.
I mean, not that you're chasing the surge anyway, because that's just a bad idea, but sometimes you're close enough. And the other thing I'll do is I'll turn the UberX off. Often I did when there was not as many drivers out as there are now. I was running Comfort all the time and hardly UberX, so I could go into a surge zone, get up to $5 to $7, and once I got up to $5, I'd throw the UberX on, and I'd take an UberX at with an extra $5 on top of it, no problem.
Right.
But even now though, I'll turn the UberX off and use my Comfort to get into the zone, and then turn the UberX on once I'm in on a 5+ ride. So,
yeah, I think Uber would want you to know, because they don't want everyone clustered in one spot anyways, especially if there's no rides. They probably would rather you go, oh, I'm going to go, 3 miles west or whatever. Just to kind of spread out a little
isn't
bit.
the surge zone supposed to help move drivers around?
That's the idea, right? But whether or not it actually works, or whether or not Uber is using it to their advantage, who knows?
One thing I've thought about trying to do, and I don't know if you guys ever thought about this, is just watching the app for a day and seeing where the surge is most frequent. It's like, okay, off, in this particular spot, it always surges at this particular time, and so then you could know, like, okay, at 2:00 in the afternoon, or 5:00 or 7:00 at night, whatever, get in this area, because you're going to be guaranteed a certain amount. So you could start there or whatever, or if you happen to be in a particular area, that, like, okay, get over here and you'll be better off.
Yeah. I think it's a good idea to do that. Although I may get a little, I mean, for us strategy guys, it's okay, but it may get a little clustery on the app if you got all these cars and you're like, okay, where do I go? But I think I early on used to flip back and forth, but then it got to the point I was so busy when I was driving, it's like I didn't even really need to worry about strategy. But
yeah, no, lately, until I would say in the last couple of weeks, I haven't had to use the old strategy, because there hasn't hardly been any drivers out. And, because I was like Uber Eats, I mean, it was like I was getting orders all the time, and then drivers to riders. People during June, July, August, they were so thankful just to get a ride.
Yeah,
that was kind of cool.
So cool. All right, Jesper, we're going to talk about insurance, aren't we? This is freaking ridiculous. So let me get to it.
But there's no way it's right, though.
Yeah, right. I don't know.
It's got to be a mistake.
I mean, maybe.
Well, it better not be. So the thing is here, what it says is the premium for the rideshare policy will be $32,482 for 12 months, with an initial payment to start of $5,524, followed by 10 auto-drafted monthly payments of $2,695.84. If you'd like to move forward with the policy or have any questions, please email me back and I'll reach out to you within 24 to 48 hours.
Well, the ridiculous part is do they not proofread the email when, before they send it or what? Like, it's just like,
I would send a shot of my butthole before I took that out.
Well, I mean, don't you think a lot of that is automatic though, and it's just simply a mistake?
Yeah, it probably is automatic. I mean, everything is auto. They just plug in the numbers in a soft piece of software and zips the email.
Maybe it's even because he's not. Maybe it's all based on his driving record, right? And it's because he's so high risk that they want to make the money. And who knows?
I mean, that's pretty ridiculous. But
the algorithm came out with like $32,000 in rideshare insurance. Yeah, no. Let me just not drive and then just.
Then I'll make more money.
I know.
All right. This one's kind of cool. Bear with me. Amazon Flex Rewards. I was pretty excited about this. They've really never done anything, and Chris and Jesper don't do any flexing, but a lot of people do, and I do a lot of it. And they kind of have a debit card, but you can earn up to 6% cash back, and that's the most I've ever heard of. Now, you do earn points, and it's a 3-month term, so obviously you have to do a lot of blocks, and that's how you earn your reward points for like how many packages you deliver. I think you get like a point per package, and then you get like 100 points per block you pick up. But yeah, I mean, I think the only benefit for me would be the debit card. I'm not able to use the Uber one. We've talked about that endless times just because I still don't know what is going on with that. But the funny part is the Amazon Flex is using the green dot, the same company that Uber is using. So I may run into the same problem. But 6%, I mean, that adds up. That's a pretty good kickback. What was Uber's max? 5, I think.
5, yeah.
Apparently you can get like priority access to scheduling blocks, but I don't take blocks at minimum anyways, so it wouldn't be, it wouldn't be beneficial to me. But yeah, right. I thought that was amazing.
Very interesting. I think it kind of just speaks to the changes, the constant changes in the gig economy, and what are they always continually trying to do to get new people, signing up for doing the services and just kind of keeping people on there. So
yeah,
it's constant change, right?
Actually, we don't have a tip tonight, but I'm just going to say it now. That just popped into my head. I couldn't think of one. Here's a tip: if you're an Amazon Flex driver and you're new, don't take the blocks at 18 an hour. They will go up. I promise they will. And if you take them at 18, you're going to drive to Kalamazoo an hour one way. So you got 2 hours of driving, plus you have to deliver your route for $18 an hour. Not good. Not good. Yeah, honestly, about it's a cycle. About every 3 months, they seem to hire new drivers. And they all take the 18s, and then they kind of figure out the game. And then all of a sudden, they're all surging again because everyone knows, and then they hire more drivers. And then it's like every 3 months, it's a complete shit show. So
I saw an accident over there today. Prime van got hit on Walker and pulling onto 96.
Oh, really?
I think he was still loaded too.
Oh man, yeah. Well, we have an article tonight about another Prime van. It's like 2 in a row. So before we jump into the next article, I want to talk about Oil Uber, which I got to switch over.
Make it big. Make it
big. Just want to thank them so much for being a sponsor of the show. And they signed up for another 3 months. So if you guys are interested in changing people's oil or
the other services,
right? the jump start or
emergency jump start,
and the fuel delivery, get her done. Sign up. Go to oiluber.com and get signed up. You can also get your oil changed. I'm waiting for my oil to be changed. So I'm not due for one yet. That's what I'm trying to say. So I can use their service. But yeah, go to oiluber.com as a customer or to sign up as a tech. We can't thank them enough. I think they have some news coming for someone. They're partnering with somebody that we kind of had an interview about. So I'm super excited to see where that's going. Yeah, for sure. So, all right, let's get back into the screen. There we go. Jesper, you are up.
Talking about Lyft and how they want to enter the food delivery market.
Anyways, why are they waiting now? Like now they're like, oh, by the way, we're not making any money even more because the pandemic. Maybe we should do something else.
Well, so that, that's what the article is saying, that, in the ever 3-month exercise in how much money are we losing, known as a quarterly earnings call, SF-based rideshare company Lyft reported losing about $240 million in the third quarter, which is considered good in Silicon Valley terms.
Oh.
And Lyft stock is up.
Oh, I sold mine. I sold both.
Ridiculous.
I bought $5 of each, and it was like negative 46% on like the return. And I was like, I sold it for like almost $2.
My Tesla is still through the roof, so that's what's carrying me right now. So anyways, so basically they are thinking about getting into it. They think that they have a way of getting into it without even costing the traditional 2 to 3% of food cost for the restaurant. So that's pretty interesting. It's not surprising given that the Uber Eats spinoff has been Uber's only financial bright spot during the pandemic, and Silicon Valley investors do love copycats. So that's what they're saying. But the writer of the article does mention that Lyft currently has have a relationship with Grubhub, and think that if Lyft do enter this market, that it can probably kick that relationship goodbye. So that's gonna go in if they're gonna enter into an
agreement.
Doing food delivery. That's probably gonna go against what going to be a competitor of Grubhub, so that's not really going to make much sense. So,
did I miss it? If you read it, I was doing something else. Not that I wasn't listening, sort of. Weren't they gonna like do less fees for the restaurants? What was it? Wasn't that?
That's exactly what that's what they're thinking. So Lyft thinks that they have a solution in offering lower delivery fees and maybe even no fees at all. Restaurant Trade publication, blah blah blah, was saying that what's happening to restaurants in times like this, when they sell food on a platform like Uber Eats, they get charged 20 to 30%. They lose 20 to 30% of their revenue to that platform. And so Lyft think that they can do that much cheaper. That's what I was thinking about. They normally charge a certain percentage of the food cost.
I wonder what DoorDash's fees are. I don't ever really hear anyone talking about it. I feel like they all have to be somewhat similar.
Yeah, I don't know exactly, but I do know that we are talking about one thing that we talked about lately is so in the 3 times I've been out doing food delivery,
the 3 times.
Yeah, I know. We talked about it's never worth it, right? So I don't care.
What are you talking about? I make my living on mostly food delivery.
Oh no, and I know, but for me, I don't care enough about it, and it's just. It's one of those things I just really don't even enjoy it. But what I was trying to say is one thing that we're seeing is that sometimes the platform signs up restaurants without even signing up the restaurant, right?
Oh.
So they will list their restaurant, and then you have to go buy the food, order the food, buy the food with their special card. And then at that point, Uber and Lyft are then just selling it at their prices.
Yeah, I do have a story about that.
Making money that way, right? So that's one way that they've been doing it. But restaurants don't like that at all. They don't. No, several of the restaurants that know they're doing that, they're saying no, we're not doing that.
Well, here's what I don't understand. So I had an instant. It's a restaurant called Chubby's. Don't ask me why it's called Chubby's. It's over by Metro Health in Byron Center. Well, I guess that's Wyoming. I went there during the day, and I think it was like during the week, and it was fine. I ordered the food for them. Normally I order on the phone, but for whatever reason, I missed that this was an order and pay, and so I drove there. And so the next day, I'm like, it's the weekend, and I go to order, and she's like, is this for Uber Eats? And I said, yeah. And she's like, well, we're not participating. I said, okay, well, I was just in here yesterday, and there was no problem. Well, the owner doesn't want to do it. So we kind of got in a little bit of an argument. I was like, it was a good payout. So I was like, will you please just make it for this time? And she wouldn't do it. So I was very fussy. But what I don't understand, I know they lose a little bit of quality control, right, when they're having someone else do it. But why wouldn't you, in this pandemic situation, why wouldn't you want to make as much money as you can and get your food out the door as much as possible?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, they really haven't. They really haven't.
So I don't think they're losing anything when we order it from them directly,
right?
Because there's nothing that they're paying for on the platform.
No, so it's a win-win.
Yeah,
I don't get it. Other than not being able to control where their food goes, right? So if they get a bad review, So
I feel. I'm speculating very strongly that Uber Eats is using advertising dollars to try to get these restaurants in through that system.
Yes.
Right. Oh, yeah.
It's because the payouts on doing that particular type of delivery are phenomenal.
Yeah, I love doing those. If you can pull over to the side of the road and order them, right away. As soon as I get an order, even if I'm going to deliver another one, I just pull over, find a side street. Yep. Call, order the food, and keep going on my way. And by the time I get to the restaurant, it's usually ready to go.
Yeah, it's but I think what they're going to do is come back to the restaurant later and say, "Look, this is what you've done on this through our platform, and you need to sign up, or we're going to just cut this off."
Ooh,
right? Because if, let's say they're getting 20% more business through the Uber delivery platform, and then Uber comes back and after a while and says, look, why don't you sign up? We have proof of what you're doing.
Yeah.
This is how much money you've really made because we know what your cost is and where this is.
Yeah.
And if you didn't have our platform to do these deliveries, you wouldn't have made this money.
Yeah.
Right.
And they would have to notice the spike if a restaurant is keeping track of their numbers like they should. They'd be like, why are we making like 15% more a week? Like, what's going on?
And I don't, when I do the order, I do not say anything about it being, I actually order under my name.
Yep. I've learned my lesson to not go in a restaurant and then I don't bring my bag in there either.
No, yeah.
I just leave it in the car. I just like, hey, for Jason. And they're like, there you go.
Well, the only one I had was Halloween night where I picked up a Beltline bar order. And then when I came out to the car with the delivery, the app got they had a bad night on.
Yeah.
They had a bad night on Halloween. And it froze. And there was a car next to me. And I was trying to find out where to deliver the food. And it wouldn't go to the next stage. And the guy in the car comes next to me. He's like, yeah, we're Uber Eats. And we've been stuck here for a half hour or whatever, trying to figure out where to go. And I actually ended up calling the customer up to find their address and ended up from Beltline bringing it over to Standale and was able to drop it off. The app was still froze. So I just kind of like quit using it for the night, went over to Lyft. And but I got my money because I had to pay with my own card.
Yeah.
I got my money for that, but I haven't gotten any money because it was a 2-ride quest. So I was supposed to make like an additional $12 or $18.
Okay.
And it was the second ride of it. I was in a surge area plus the delivery cost. So I haven't gotten paid for that yet. And I'm in the process of finishing that. And that's been since October 31. And today is.
Wow.
Ooh. Yeah. Yeah. And then I know today they had, there was a couple of Amazon servers down. So Grubhub was having trouble. Shipped was a complete shit show, I guess. They couldn't process orders. There was no communication. So, yeah, I as well have paid for an order that thank you for bringing that up. I'm going to check later if they finally paid me because I did get paid today.
I think they need to do something different with that because I need verification somehow that, it supposedly is on that particular ride, but I need to know like later on that's been covered. I don't know how that.
Well, yeah, it's weird because I sent a screenshot and say I paid for it. So how do they know? I mean, they know obviously.
I took pictures. I had the receipts. I wrote down on the receipt the address that I delivered it to.
Yeah.
And, the apartment number. And I asked the girl's name and I said, look, I'm having problems with this. If you could please verify with Uber that everything's been covered up in case they come back to you. So then I had to also show that I paid for it on my credit card statement.
Okay.
To Uber.
Yeah, I'm sure
they were really quick on paying that back because on their app this says, "Don't worry, we will pay.
Yeah,
we will cover this."
Yeah. So I have to follow up with that. It was only $18, but I'm not. I need my money back.
But so they send out that card now, right? So you have an Uber card now, a debit card, so you can use that to pay with now, right?
Yeah, but for some
DoorDash has one too. I think
they all do. Grubhub does too. Yeah, for some reason I've never had it, but last week I went to a pizza place and it didn't work. And then of course you look like a douche canoe because your card was declined. You know what I mean? Like can't even afford an $18 pizza. You know what I mean? So you're
declined twice. It's like it's not my freaking card.
Oh, I didn't even have run it twice. I was like, okay, here's my Visa card. Like I wasn't gonna stand there and have them run it over.
Well, and then
over.
I'm using my card that I can get some airline points on too. So if I'm gonna use somebody else's money, I'm gonna get some points for it, baby.
Well, they got to make it a little difficult to get your money back, right? Because otherwise you would do that, right? You would just every order you'd pay with your own card. If you knew like they would clear it that night and you'd get your money back, why wouldn't you do it that way to get rewards? So
yeah. But what they're doing too is they're adding it to your total.
Right.
So you look at your dollar amount and you're like, no, wait a minute. That $91 for that food order from Sushi Place was not my money that I made. This is
right.
Yeah.
You got to keep keep track of that stuff. That's another tip too. If you're out there and doing stuff, keep your receipts, even if you paid through Uber. And then, at the end of the week after it pays out, then I would pitch them. Yeah. But yeah, you just never.
I got a pile of receipts, and I'm like,
yeah, you never know.
Well, you can use those as your own receipts for tax purposes,
Hey, nope. Yeah, Jesper said that he doesn't represent the Gig Economy podcast with that statement.
It was a joke. I know I would never do that.
I know. All right, moving on.
This is your credit card statement.
Right. So this is kind of funny. Whether it's fake or not, I don't know. For our audio people, there's a $7, $8.
I think I delivered that to your house, Jason.
Oh, excuse me, sir. I'm a once a monther over here, okay? So that's, and we do missionary. We don't do it that way. So
you would tell us.
Yeah, right. I would. So there's a tip of $8 and a note. It says, please leave food here on the step. And there's stick figures. They're going to town, busy town. And it says, don't interrupt.
Balloon animals.
What?
There's a very famous radio show in town. And every time they talk about that, they say they do balloon animals.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's funny.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty hilarious. So again, don't know if it's real or not, but it's still freaking funny.
Yep.
All right.
Definitely.
So Jesper's got a TikTok video. Well, this is it's just kind of a feel good video, right? We like to put these on sometimes and just we talk about how we're bartenders when we're driving people around, and sometimes people just kind of open up to you and you're like, you got to be ready for that stuff because sometimes it's super emotional. So I'll play that video and then we'll kind of talk about it. Let's see if I
can say, why do I have it? You just play the video.
I know. I know. Shut up. God,
Here's a TikTok video.
Like I don't have enough to do. Assholes.
I'm driving for Uber, and so this guy gets in my car and he immediately asks me to play a country song, and I was like, okay, I can get down with some country. I grew up in the middle of fucking nowhere, Ohio. I like country. We're good. Let's do it. And he was like, oh, where'd you grow up? Small talk. And I told him, and I was like, yeah, I mean, it's probably not as bad as the rural South, but it's still pretty conservative over there or whatever. And he would start asking me how it was growing up with parents that were conservative, all this stuff. And I was like, well, it helps when half your siblings are gay, haha, as a joke. And then he starts crying and he was like, I think I'm gay. Oh my God, don't tell anybody that. Oh my God, I've never said that before. Please don't tell anybody. Just sat in my car for an hour. Because I'm the only person that he's ever told that to before. And we're getting coffee on Sunday. So.
Please don't tell anybody. No, let me post a TikTok on YouTube.
We're getting coffee on Sunday. So,
yeah, that's a good point. Are you getting coffee just to chat or yeah, well, but it's just, it's nice
I'm working this out. Will you have coffee with me?
Right. Yeah. Oh man, I'm kind of in between, but that does suck if you are. I can't believe in today's age, you feel like you have to be, hold that back. If you're gay, who gives a shit? Yeah. I mean, I feel bad for people
there's families where it's just not, you don't talk about stuff like that.
I know.
You just don't, yeah. It's the whole concept of coming out is still a big thing. I'm pretty convinced.
Yeah. Especially in the African American community too.
Unfortunately, I'd like to say unfortunately, because people should be able to live the way they want. Absolutely.
What is your craziest kind of I don't know what someone's told you and you're like, okay, I'm sorry. I mean, I've had girls cry and I'll be like, yeah, that guy's a douche. I don't know him. She's probably part of the problem too, but I can't think anything offhand. What about you, Jesper or Chris? I'm sure Chris got one.
The only one that came to mind is that guy after the concert, and he was just a complete douche. And not that anybody ever told me, but he was just a piece of work, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Nobody. I mean, often people would do the whole bartender thing, right, and kind of tell me stories and stuff. But again, same time, quite often you just try to say a couple of words and then you in and out of the ears, right, and move on. So it's. I mean, I don't know. Nothing comes to mind. Nothing really comes to mind.
What about you, Chris?
Oh gosh. Where do you want me to start?
Well, let's not make it a 10-minute story. We still got a bunch of articles to get to, but just give me the short version.
So I had one time I picked up this gal and I picked her up at a house and we're driving along and she's kind of quiet in the back and I don't know, we're kind of, and I sensed something was not right. And ended up she had 2 houses and was trying to get rid of one and was just struggling with it and didn't know what to do. And so, I have a faith. So I'm like, well, maybe we can kind of work this out for you a little bit. And so kind of talked her through it, and she ended up just bawling in the backseat of my car. And
yeah,
I'm like, oh, sorry, I hope it works out for you.
Yeah, like when you're done, you're like, okay, I this is a good conversation, but get the hell out of my car.
So I did have a drunken nurse one time, and that was she was a she worked with kids, and I don't know if I ever shared that video. I have the whole video saved.
Yeah, I think so. We need if we ever get John on here, he needs to talk about the cooter lady or the hound dog. What was that? I can't remember, but he's got a great story about that. About like the lady had married him 3 months ago, and she was hoping he died. Or I think that's the same. Like, God, what was that? I know I'm gonna struggle with it, but. Maybe when we get him on here, we'll talk about that.
After a while, we get so many, they're hard to...
Yeah, I know. And this happened, he told about this about over probably a year and a half ago, and there's probably been
a while.
10,000 voice messages since then.
You never know if it's a real story from John, though, or not.
I don't know. He is a pretty good storyteller. He is a pretty good storyteller.
He is that.
All right, before
he needs to come to the to the picnic one of these years so we can actually know who he is.
Yeah, I mean, I think we get him on here now that we're doing remotes for a little bit. He's got the internet. He's got a camera. He's got podcasting equipment. So Pete said, I had a girl I picked up downtown and watched her boyfriend smash her phone on the ground. I immediately pulled up and told her to get in and didn't even know she was my passenger. Ugh, that's rough, too. How many times has Uber...
It's not the one who was it that had the one that passed out in his car on the way out to Grand Valley?
Oh, who hasn't had that?
Well, I've had that happen several times, but
he had the cops and everything like come at the gas station.
Oh, no, that was Justin.
Huh?
Oh, Justin.
That was Justin.
Oh.
Yeah, but yeah, who hasn't had a passed out Grand Valley girl? All right, before we jump forward,
your man needs to specify, Jason.
Yeah, I mean, as a passenger, relax.
Yeah, as a passenger. There you go.
Yes. Sorry. Miafis, that's the name we made it. We made it it's Miafis, but that's just the gig economy pronunciation. Michigan Insurance and Financial Services. Call Jackie at 269-569-6127 or email her, Jackie at miafs.com. Jesper is now
it's going to save you a ton of money.
Yeah, Jesper's on board.
Good thing you put an A in there, not an L.
What do you mean? I don't get it. All right, whatever. I'm confused.
MIAFS.
MIAFS. Oh, geez, Chris. Idiot. Anyways, call Jackie at 269-569-60. You can't talk to me when I'm doing an ad. Like, it totally throws me off. If I have to actually spell or do any math, I'm screwed. Call her at 269-569-6127 or email her, Jackie at miafs.com. Especially with insurance reform, if you're up in the older age bracket, like Chris's age, you could probably save some money. But give her a call. We really appreciate Jackie's supporting the show. Get an insurance quote, y'all. You shouldn't just be going with the same company for 20 years. Like, you definitely need to get an insurance quote because the prices have changed, and you want to make sure that your guy or your gal is not taking advantage of you with prices.
And she shops around for you. I mean,
yeah,
she doesn't just sell for one company. She sells for multiples.
Yep. Independent broker or independent agent. She doesn't like the word broker. I say that all the freaking time. All right. So speaking of Amazon, this son of a bitch. Oh, hold on. Shoot,
I can't say that I recognize that move.
Why? You've done that before?
I've had maps throw me down the wrong.
So Amazon delivery van gets extremely stuck following GPS down a California 4x4 trail. What's interesting with Judas Maud. I'm looking at the pictures in the article. There's more pictures than that. So what's interesting is out of all the companies out there that do all the apps as far as wrong one. Like Uber's got their own built-in app. Does Lyft, or do they still pop out? I can't remember. Chris,
you're talking about a mapping app.
Yeah, GPS.
Yeah.
Amazon's GPS is amazing in their app. It used to be Sketch, but it's really good. Now, mind you, I'm not saying that if you're in the boonies, it won't try to take you down a 2-track, because I had that the other day where you could probably get through it. It was one of those seasonal roads. But as far as like accuracy, like where the house is and everything, it is spot on. So, yeah, that guy had a bad day. I don't think it's as bad as the guy that went on the damn golf course the last show, though, and freaking tried to drive under the bridge where golf carts go, like a douche canoe.
Yeah, that was like,
geez.
Come on, think.
Yeah, that's just, come on. It's not a hard job. What? Did you do that before?
I've gone the wrong way, thinking it was the right way.
Yeah, but
because you're following the map and you have no reference. You have no idea where the heck you're going.
Right.
And so I'm going. I've gone down roads that ended up being dead end, and it's actually the road over. That's the way you're supposed to go through. So
yeah. Sometimes when the roads are close, the GPS can't figure out exactly where you're at. But
yeah,
we've all taken wrong turns for sure. But to end
up
on a golf course,
because of the. How often do you do wrong turns because of the map? So the map is actually directing you,
right?
And you end up following the map, but it's a wrong turn,
right? Yeah. I mean, they're not bulletproof, y'all. So you still have to have your awareness around you. Driving on a golf course, idiot. So
yeah, you got 4.
Yep. So. Jesper, let's talk a little bit about, I know this is just local for us, but we thought it was kind of interesting.
The Bob, hang on, why is that not muted? Oh, it's muted. So the Bob is on sale. It's for sale. We've talked about the Bob and 21 Row Live many times on the podcast and other places, and it's a pretty big venue downtown Grand Rapids, which compared to California, it's a tiny venue, but the big old building, which is the name of the Bob. What is that sound?
Oh, Chris is pouring a drink.
Oh, there we go. Sorry about that.
He's got his pants off.
Pour me one. Oh my gosh. Anyway, so the big old building, which is what the Bob stands for, as well as the 21 Row Live venue, they're both for sale. And if you have that nimble sum of $33 million, we can buy both the buildings.
Yeah, that's it.
As a package deal.
I mean,
it's cheap.
I think we're pretty close with our Patreon. I mean, we should just take that slush fund that we have from that.
I think we need one more Patreon.
Just one more will push us into the $30 million range, and we can buy those bars.
So, but yeah, no, I think it's pretty cool. I mean, we've had lots of
stories.
The Bob has lots of stories. It's one of those spots that people will constantly pick up in front of them, even though there is no pickup lane.
Oh, nightmare.
And it is just a nightmare. And yeah,
it
exactly.
Was.
Yeah.
Yes. I would constantly ask people, call people and say, hey, you got to cross the street, even though it's a pretty busy street in the middle of the night or whatever. Like, I'm not picking you up over there in front. I'm not risking a ticket. And almost every night we would see the police pulling up and giving out tickets left and right. So definitely,
I'd really like to see the Bob change a little bit. Jesper and I kind of talked last week about it a little bit and said, it'd be really nice for them to, like maybe it wasn't Jesper. I don't know who I was talking to, but
I don't remember talking to you about that.
Yeah, it was somebody.
So when it first happened, when we were first starting to get tickets over there, I actually called the Bob up and talked to management.
Yep.
And I said, this is what's happening, and somehow something needs to change. that your customers are coming out, out front, and that's not the place for we can pick up. I said, maybe you can talk to the city and try to get that as a designated spot for pickup, so we're not getting tickets. And the management person that I talked to at the time actually says, well, I use Uber and Lyft a lot, and that's terrible. I'm like,
right.
Yeah, it's really bad. So
yeah, I mean, they got to work with the city, and maybe that person you talked to thought it was bad, but then you bring it up to the owners. They're like, yeah, we don't really care. We're not working with the city on that.
Well, and I know several people who call the police, and the police says there's nothing we can do. It's out of our hands because it's done by the down by the.
It's a traffic lane.
The township has to decide. That basically in making those changes, Uber, the police can't do it, and the Bob can't do it. It's one of those things that they have to decide to put money towards changing that lane, as you correctly say, from a traffic lane into a pickup lane.
Well, and that's the problem too. They didn't anticipate, when they built that building, they didn't anticipate what Uber and Lyft wasn't even around.
Right.
So the building was always there. They just restored it. It was an old factory.
Yeah. So. Well, they figured people would just park in the parking ramp, and that would be fine. But then Uber and Lyft came around, and people don't want to drive anymore. So
correct. Yep.
Anyways, one of our fun.
So $33 million, guys. Anybody want to team up and buy that building with us? Come on, let's go. Let's do it.
It'd be worth
waiting. The price will go down.
It'd be worth buying 20 Monroe Live. I wouldn't want to buy the Bob. I mean, clearly they're hemorrhaging money because it's been closed, and they're like, we need to get the hell out of this. So,
Well, the Gilmore Group is a really, really good group. They got a number of restaurants around the West Side, Michigan.
Do they own the 20 Monroe too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's the same company, same owner.
They built that, they designed it and everything. So,
they definitely. I mean, that building's not that old, so I'm sure they have.
I actually took Mr. Gilmore home one night. So.
Yeah. Did he tip?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I forget how much, but he did.
It sounded sexy.
It was a good ride. It was a good ride out to
Ada.
It was further out. It wasn't just Ada. It was a little bit further out. Yeah.
All right. So, whoops. All right. This is. Oh, did I not load the video? Son of a bitch. Hold on a minute. I just realized I just loaded the. I know. I just loaded the screenshot. Hang on a second. Okay. Here we go.
In the meantime, we'll say hi to Chris Cooper. How you doing, Manny? There's the video.
Yeah.
It's Christopher. Can you read?
Oh, sorry. Christopher Cooper.
I'll play it again.
By Chris,
so basically, this is.
Like I did.
Let me stop it. So this is an Uber Eats delivery, and they're all been contactless. Mostly, most people do that. I always, when I drop it, I always knock on the door. Now this looks like somewhere probably in New York or somewhere where there's apartments on, where they probably knocking will do nothing. But let me play this real quick, and then sorry about loading that. They go, two guys walk by, they pick up the food.
I don't like this food. I'm going to bring it back.
It's yours? Why are you taking it? I was believing you guys. Just leave it there. Why are you taking it? Oh, no. We thought it was... No. You thought what? You just stealing it. You just stealing it. That's it. You say you stealing it. No. Why you take someone's food? It's not for you. We thought somebody left it there.
Oh,
somebody did leave it there.
Right.
Just leave. Leave, he's gonna come up. Yeah, I know. Just go. Sorry. Go before he come up.
I swear he said stupid ass right at the end there when they were driving or when they were biking away. But yeah, for the audio listeners, basically there was two, kids or maybe young adults walking by, and they saw the food and picked it up. And then somebody, either the driver or the deliverer or somebody said, "Hey, that's not yours. What are you doing?" And going back to what I said is, like, I always knock on the door and then I text them. Like, each platform has a different way of doing it. Like Uber, you actually, if it's contactless, you take a picture. If it's not, you don't have to take a picture because they're expecting you to meet the person at the door. Grubhub, no picture. You just text them. Say, hey, I left it where the delivery instructions said. So
I like the picture.
Yeah, I do too.
I've had people though coming out the door and I'm taking a picture at the same time.
Yeah, I try to have my camera, like when it says take photo, as I'm walking up, I have it ready. So the second I take it out of the bag, I take a quick picture because it looks weird, right? You're like, why are you taking a picture of my food? Yeah. But yeah, so far, Ben got kicked off the Uber Eats platform, which is very strange. He had like an 82% rating, and I'm like, I'm 100%.
Why? What did he do?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, how hard is it? You freaking drop the food off and you take a picture and you walk away. I mean, other than if you're like stomping on the bag of food when you leave after you take the picture. I mean, other than that, like I'm not sure what happened.
Did he have his mask on?
I don't know. I'm assuming he did.
I think I got busted for that because
did you get a complaint?
I don't know. I've got. I'm like, well, why did I get a negative here? And
I've never even. I mean, I guess I can look. In my market,
put your mask on when you're dropping it off.
I do when I drop the food off.
Do you have it on in the car?
No, you're not required to. I don't have any passengers, so my food's in a hot bag anyways, so I don't really need to worry about it. I mean, I definitely cough on it as I put the food in the bag. No, I'm kidding. Anyone listening to this, I'm kidding.
Is that before or after you take the top of the snack on it?
Well, McDonald's
it makes me wonder sometimes because it's like, the bag is sealed. Supposedly,
most of them
get on the package, right?
I mean, they kind of took it away a little bit. They took away that used to be like, remember, everyone was putting their groceries inside their garage.
I knew people that were like cleaning off every can they were bringing into the house.
Yeah, definitely.
Store.
Right. So where am I at? I muted Chris because he's like hitting the mic and it's driving me nuts. Where are we at? Okay.
He had to get power to his laptop, I'm sure.
Oh, is that what it was? All right. So this one is interesting. I actually had, speaking of McDonald's, we weren't talking about McDonald's, but sealed bags. They seal everything. They put the drinks inside and everything. Mm-hmm. I made a delivery today, and the sons of bitches, that McDonald's on 44th Street, I don't care if I'm throwing them out. They suck. Every time I go there personally or with my kids.
44th and Clyde Park?
No. 40. Sorry, I should clarify. 44th and Granville. That McDonald's sucks. But anyways, I'm like, he gives me the bag. I was like, is it all in here? It feels a little light because it's sealed. You can't see it. And he's like, well, the ticket's on the thing. And I looked at the ticket, had the drinks on it. And I'm like, okay. And sure enough, the lady texted me. And I had a good interaction. She was very sweet. I was like, I'm sorry. Call Grubhub. They'll refund you. She's like, okay, thank you so much. Now, this interaction on the other thing, we'll read this. So it says, this is your Grubhub driver. I left your order outside of your front door. That's the standard text. Does no peppers mean more peppers to you? Customer, I have no control over how they make your food. Contact Grubhub for a complaint on your food. So far, fine. You're an idiot, the customer. Again, no control over your food. Call Grubhub. Whatever, dude. Call Grubhub if something's wrong with your food. Learn how to read, okay? And then the driver's like, no hablo English. So, yeah. I understand people get frustrated with when their food isn't correct.
Where was it? IHOP off of Plainfield in 96. I picked up there and brought it to the guy, dropped it off. He's like, I got the wrong food. I'm like, well, this is what they gave me. I said, call IHOP up. And
so I actually will verify the name even when they hand it to me before I leave, because a lot of times the name will be on the receipt and they're all different. If the name matches for me, I'm fine. But I always verify the name. But like
I said the name to the gal when I went into the IHOP and picked it up. So I assumed everything was good,
Yeah, I mean, some of those places do takeout amazingly, like Chipotle.
Oh.
They rock it out, man. I never have to wait. I walk in there. I mean, they have like an assembly line just for takeout. It's just like
Qdoba. There are places. So just talking about that, a little bit. I went to Mr. Burger last week on Saturday on Michigan, and like they need to figure it out. And some of the Taco Bells too. They need to figure it out. It's like you guys could make way more money if you would figure this out and do like these other restaurants are doing, because you suck. Your wait time is bad.
It is.
Your food is bad. You know, for instance, like Mr. Burger on Michigan. I don't know if the rest of them are the same. They have the drive-through. So as a Uber driver, I had to call the order in. So I called the order in. I got there. I ended up having to sit in the drive-through lane.
Yeah.
While they were backed up like all the way around the building. I'm like, great, you know, and so I had to go through, get to the speaker. I'm like, hey, I'm with Uber. I got this order. Oh, you're that big order. Yeah. And I go up, I use my card to pay for it. And I'm thinking what you guys need to do is have call in orders, set up a table on the inside, A through F or whatever, you know, set up the different things like Qdoba does, and have people come in and pick up their order so that they order ahead of time. You got 15-20 minutes to prepare it, put it in on the table outside. People could come in, pay for it, take it and leave. Uber drivers, Lyft drivers, Grubhub, whatever, whoever can come in and pick it up, pay for it and leave. They could do 3 lines out front like they do, like Chick-fil-A does. When you go to Chick-fil-A, they are freaking awesome. I'm sorry. The 28th Street and a Beltline Chick-fil-A, they have 40 cars there. I bet they get them through in less than 10 to 15 minutes.
Yeah, and what's interesting about Chick-fil-A is they come out to you. Like, you don't even have to go in. You just pull in the spot, and they're like, they bring, like, I don't even know how they know it's my order. They just come to my car. Like, I was like, what the hell? I didn't even speak to anyone.
It is awesome. Chick-fil-A is like, okay, so if you're going through the drive-through, they come out with the iPad. You order your food. You pay for the food there. You're stuck if you ordered it.
Yeah.
You're going to wait.
Right.
You know, but they get you through fast.
Yeah.
So you get your food right away. I mean, and it's like, okay, we need to figure this out. We need to know how we can get the flow going so we can optimize the dollar amount in the little amount of time as possible.
And this is why no Chick-fil-A has ever gone out of business, because they got their shit together from A to B.
Well, and the kitchen is made for that. I mean, you're not going to get the same at a Mr. Burger. They have the kitchen, right?
Yeah.
But it's
well, that's why. So Mr. Burger, I understand what you're saying, Jesper, but Mr. Burger, if you would call in your order from your house and you're going to come and pick it up, you got 15-20 minutes to get that order ready. That's plenty of time. Plenty amount of time. I mean, if you were sitting down in a restaurant, you would expect your food in that amount of time.
I wish McDonald's would do that. Like, let me come into the restaurant and have a table there too. It's kind of the same thing. Like, it would,
or even McDonald's. So they got the 1, 2, 3, pickup spots. So like, tell the Uber driver to go to 1, 2, or 3. And we'll bring the food out to you. And they could be so much more efficient with a McDonald's than
McDonald's in general is always slow though.
Yeah,
checkers.
They don't have to be fast because everyone will still go. And honestly, a lot of these restaurants with the pandemic, like, you better get your shit together or you're going under, because people are not going to tolerate slow ass food. So,
if they see the restaurants that are figuring it out and know how to do it fast, people are going to catch on. And if the restaurant is not understanding what the market is telling them, they need to figure it out much faster than what they're doing. And if they need to get a group of Uber drivers in there to talk to them and ask them what's going on, get us in there. We will tell you exactly what you need to do.
Yeah, if McDonald's wants to be a sponsor of the show, we'll happily take their sponsorship money and we'll get that shit running great.
I'll work on that for you.
Yeah, that would be great. And another thing, this is kind of a tip, like, when you're doing food delivery, we talk about strategy for drivers when you're driving, like times ago. Know those restaurants in your area that are shitty. Like, I tell Jesper, don't take McDonald's. Jesper, I took a McDonald's today because it was slow. It was $10.50. I'm like, okay, that's decent for McDonald's. Like, that's a decent tip. I waited in line for 20 minutes at that stupid Granville McDonald's because it was all ready. I mean, I literally...
If it was over $20, he would have waited, though.
Yeah. Well, it was ready. I got the notification on Grubhub that they pressed ready to go, and I still waited in line for 15 minutes to get that food.
Oh.
And then
they should tell you to go to 1, 2, or 3 spot. We'll run it out to you.
Yes, exactly.
And I've also the other thing I've wondered, because they often tell you just pull up to window number, the second window, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder if I could just bypass and slide in at the second window.
Man, you're going to get somebody to stab you in the neck. I mean,
I know, but they tell you that, right?
Yeah.
So they're like, just pull up to the second window.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
well, you'd be better off walking up.
So
Yeah.
So I picked up yesterday at the one on Division at the McDonald's.
Oh,
Division
boy.
and Hall.
Whoa.
Yeah, that one and the what's the chicken place over there?
Popeyes.
Popeyes.
Yeah,
the chicken coop.
It's like so anyway, I go to the McDonald's and I'm in the thing and I get up to the first window and the guy's like, well, you can go over the hump and then drive around and then go up. We set up a window for you guys.
Oh.
And so there is a window, Division, the McDonald's at Division and Hall.
Mm-hmm.
There's a window for you if you just go right around and you park in the spot and go up to the window and you just you ring the buzzer.
Oh, you got to get out of your car?
Yep.
Oh, no,
and
thanks.
But no, but you
not Division and Hall. But anyways, let's move on.
But you bring your you give them the code and then you're on your way. You don't have to sit in line and wait for it.
Right.
Yeah. Even with those,
and those guys there, honestly, were some of the nicest. They're like, have a blessed day. Have a blessed day.
Oh,
Every
yeah,
one of them in that store were like phenomenal.
I know. I tease them. I tease the area, but I'm sure they were fine.
No,
so.
I know what you mean. It's like
try to stay out of the area in general.
You're watching 360 when you're
right. All right. Well, guess what? It is tax time. What?
Yeah.
It's only November. Now, be ready. I have another podcast I listen to. Their tax guy also is started to advertise too, so we're not too early. Call Scrotenbohr Tax and Accounting, Dave at 616-940-1045. He's going to hook you up. He's going to help you get through those 1099s, tell you how much you're going to have to pay or not pay or get money back. But don't do it yourself. Don't screw around with that. You have the backing of an accountant, so if you get audited, they have all your shit, and they can make sure that you're doing, everything's on the up and up. So call Dave at 940-1045. Does not have to be just in Michigan, or you can go to their Facebook page and contact them as well. Thank you to Scrotenbohr Tax and Accounting.
Just real fast before we move on. The first time I did an accountant back many years ago, I thought I was gonna pay $800, and I ended up getting $2,000 back. So there's a huge difference in using an accountant because they know all the things that you don't know. So definitely.
I mean, I've done TurboTax before I did gig work when I was doing simple, and it's okay. It works, but if you ever have a question, you end up Googling it. Like it's hard to figure out if you do know exactly what to do. And honestly, my accountant, I think I didn't use Dave, but I have someone else that I've used for years, and I think it was like $275 or something. Because he like rolls his eyes every time I roll in because all my 1099s is like shipped Amazon, Uber, Lyft, Grubhub. I mean, there's like 8 of them. And he's like, oh, boy, man, you're putting me to work. But, call Dave. Don't wait. Start doing it now. Get a relationship going. Get your information in. And so when you get all your shit in, you can find out how much money you're getting back. So we don't have a tip tonight, but that's okay. Before we jump into Facebook shenanigans, an ad for us. We would love you to be a patron. Support us at patreon.com/the gig. Yep, the GigaCon podcast. Get an extra podcast a month, and we're working on an exclusive merch just for Patreon. Now, you're not going to get, you will get one piece free if you join for 2 months, the $10 tier. But we're actually going to create some merch just for Patreon members to buy, so it's only for you. No one else can buy it. So, again, thank you for Michael and Ron G for signing up. We really appreciate it. Patreon.com, search the Gig Economy Podcast. We would super appreciate the support. We really, really like it. I love this song, by the way. I could just listen to this, and it doesn't even have any words with it. All right, let's get back and finish this boy out. Oh, Chris is muted. Sorry about that. You were getting another drink. All right. Okay, this one. Jesper asked me... Okay, I'm just going to read it first. It's a shipped shop. It says requested product, Jell-O instant vanilla pudding and pie filling available. Would 5 of these be okay? He sends a picture. And the customer's like, yes, that works just fine. Are these individual servings? I need enough for a banana pussing. And she's like, pudding, oh my God. And Jesper's like, what's a banana pussing? And I'm like, well,
I knew what it kind of was hitting at, right?
I hope so.
Banana is.
Yeah, so I guess if you have a banana pea, there you got bigger problems. I'm just gonna leave it at that. This next one, never in my life would I have imagined that my hands would consume more alcohol than my mouth. Oh, that is so true. I am definitely like every time I come out from a restaurant, I have hand sanitizer and a pump like in my door, and I just like take a little hit of it, rub my steering wheel, my keys, and then go on to the next one. But yeah, my hands are getting so dry, I definitely have to put lotion on. And then Jesper, this one's for you, buddy.
Yeah, so I still don't get it, right? But why did my Uber Eats driver send me a picture of me taking my food into the house?
I think it's just a silly little thing.
Right.
No. The guy had to take a picture on the Uber app, right?
Yeah.
And so he ended up going back to his car or stepping back. And the guy actually came out to get the food.
Yeah.
He was doing it.
He forgot to take the picture.
I've had it where I've people are coming out the door while I'm taking the picture, so they're in the picture.
Yeah, like, that's true. I never thought about that. Now, thanks for Chris for explaining it.
Thanks for explaining it to us. He's obviously the Uber Eats delivery expert tonight.
Right.
I prior to pandemic, I quit doing Uber Eats.
Me too.
I hated it.
I think I did too.
You know what? This is not worth it. I'm not worth it. I'm getting berated by the restaurant, and the customers aren't tipping or doing anything. I was making like $2, and I'm like, I'm not doing it. So I forget, like 3 or 4 weeks into the pandemic, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to turn this on and see what happens. And it was not
it's gotten even less now. It was booming earlier in the pandemic. Now, there's still decent runs. Like almost every one I get is at least $10. Although I did get a $4 one the other day it was a close delivery. I'm like, I don't get off my couch for
right.
$4.
So you interviewed me, what was it, August?
I don't remember.
Or July. And I was like, yeah, I don't want to tell you how good I'm doing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's good now. I've always done Grubhub. Uber Eats has always been the bottom of the barrel. Like even before pandemic, I did Grubhub in the winter to supplement, other things. But Uber Eats.
So what I find funny is like, okay, so people will tip on Uber Eats. Almost every delivery you get a tip on.
I've never had them taken away. Never.
Maybe I've had a few where I did not get a tip on. But so when you do a regular ride, right, an Uber X ride, you don't get a tip.
Yeah.
Even if you got a freaking $1 every tip, I'd be happy.
Yeah. I think what it boils down to is it's always been implied if food delivery gets a tip. Like it always is. And Uber taking people around is always such a new thing, relatively new. And when Uber started saying you don't have to tip at the beginning, that was just kind of the thing. I've always joked about, I get you're a human being from A to B and you didn't die and I don't get a tip. But if I get your cheeseburger there in time, like you tip me $10 and I'm like, I mean, dude,
I mean, you've seen some of the tips, right?
Yeah,
for Uber, any of the food deliveries, and you're like,
some of them are nuts,
right?
Like that. Well, that McDonald's run today. That reason I got it was like $10.50. She tipped me $7.50. I'm like on a McDonald's run. That's like unheard of,
right? So the thing that bugs me though is that Uber kind of has topped it out, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is, but all right, we got to wrap it up because we've been online for an hour and 25.
Hour and a half.
And but Chris, I appreciate you guest hosting. It's been great. I think next week,
thank you so much.
Possibly have Miguel and then somebody that's like a professional ship shopper. It's all going to be remote again, but she's going to chime in on some stuff. So
Sam?
Sam? No. Sam was coming in January, but no, this is somebody that does a lot of it. She's been on Reddit a little bit. We connected on Reddit and talking to people that use Ship as a customer. So it's been kind of nice for her to be like, hey, listen, this is what this looks like. So just remember your shopper is not, you know what I mean? Just those kind of tips. Yeah. So it should be fun.
So you get me back in January?
Did you sign up for 2?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I have to look at the schedule. I only work 2 weeks in advance. So, and just a reminder, December 9 is our last show for 2020. We're taking the rest of the year off. Oil Uber. Thanks, Oil Uber. We're taking the rest of the year off. So enjoy your Thanksgiving, and we'll see you on
Happy Thanksgiving, definitely.
December 9th. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.